Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mathematics Campus TV. Today, I'm going to show you how to find the volume of cuboids. So before we look into the numbers, let's have a look of this question first. In the bookstore, the shopkeeper arranges some dictionaries in the following way. How many dictionaries are there altogether? I believe every one of you can tell me that there are 6 dictionaries by simple counting. But let's break it down into a more mathematical way. We can say that there are 3 dictionaries in each row, and there are 2 rows of dictionaries there. So if we put it in a simple multiplication way, we can say that 3 times 2 equal to 6. As a result, there are 6 dictionaries altogether. So we can use the same way to break down the numbers of cubes when we are finding the volumes of cuboids. So the cuboid on the right is made up of all cubes of volume 1 cubic centimeter. So how many cubes is the cuboid made up of? Let's break it down again. There are 4 cubes in each row, and we have 3 rows in each layer. And finally, there are 5 layers in total. So that means if we put it in a multiplication way, we can say that 4 times 3 times 5, which is 60. So we can say that the cuboid is made up of 60 cubes, so that the volumes of the cuboid is 60 cubic centimeter. Observe carefully here. For a cuboid made up of cubes of volume 1 cubic centimeter, what is the relation between the number of cubes along an edge and the length of the edge? Here, when we have 4 cubes, the edge would be 4 cm. When we have 3 cubes, the edge would be 3 cm. And finally, if we have 5 cubes, the edge would be 5 cm. So we can say that when there are exactly a certain number of cubes of volume 1 cubic centimeter along an edge, that edge will be the same number cm long. So let's have a look of different cubes here. The cuboids below are made up of cubes each of volume 1 cubic centimeter, and the lengths of different edge are labeled as length, width, and height. So let's see what we can see different information from different kind of cuboids. So the first one, by counting, cuboid A, we know that the number of cubes are 12. So we can say that the volume of this cuboid A is 12 cubic centimeters. And for the length, as we said, the number of cubes is equals to the same cm long of the length, right? So there are 3 cubes in the length. That means the length will be 3 cm long. For the width, there are 2 cubes, so it will be 2 cm long. And finally, for the height, 2 cubes again, so it will be 2 cm long. Can we spot any relationship between the length, width, and height and the volume? Let's have a look on one more example. For cuboid B, by counting, we know that the number of cubes are 24. So we can say that the volume of this cuboid B is 24 cubic centimeter. And again, there are 4 cubes in the length, so 4 cm for the length, 3 cubes in the width, so 3 cm for the width, and finally 2 cubes for the height, so 2 cm for the height. And finally, let's have a look at the biggest cuboid here, cuboid C. By counting, the number of cubes are 60 cubes, so we can say that the volume is 60 cubic centimeter. And for the length, there are 5 cubes, so 5 cm for the length. For the width, 3 cubes, so 3 cm for the width. And finally, 4 cubes for the height, so 4 cm as height. If we observed carefully here, how do we get the number of 60? Apart from countings. So what is the relation between the length, width, and height of a cuboid and its volume? Yes, you're correct. So for the volume of a cuboid, if we do length times width times height, we can find the total number of cubes of the cuboid, and which will be equals to the volume of cuboid. So remember this formula. Volume of cuboid is equal to length times width times height. So let's have a look at some questions. Let's see if you guys can find out the volumes of the following cuboid. So I'm going to give you some hints. The length of this cuboid is 8 cm, the width for this cuboid is 3 cm, and the height for this cuboid is 3 cm. So if we apply back the formula, length times width times height, we can say that the volume is 8 times 3 times 3, which is 72. But be very careful here. Remember, we need a sentence when we're doing long questions, and we need a unit as well. So since all the length, width, and height are measured in cm, so we can say that the volume of the cuboid is 72 cubic centimeter. So let's look at one more questions. For the following cuboid, the width and the length and the heights are given as below. So what would be the volume of this cuboid? Great. We can say that 10, which is the length, times 3, which is the width, times 2, which is the height, equals to 60. And this time, all the lengths are measured in meter, so that we can say that the volume of the cuboid is 60 cubic meter. So finally, let's have a look at this situation. Bella places a box in different ways to observe its length, width, and height. So there is a tissue box that you can find at home, and it is being put in different way. If we draw it out, it will look like this. Do they all have the same length, width, and height? So, because any face of a cuboid can be the base, so that means after we decide the base, we can determine the length and width and the corresponding height as well. So be very careful when you are calculating the volume of cuboid. Make sure you know which face is the base first, pick the correct length, width, and the corresponding height to get the correct answer. So that is the end of the Campus TV. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you guys next time. Bye bye.